Hello there, what is up YouTube? If you have not read the title, today I have a video for you guys, and I can tell you that it is our UPA Season 2 draft analysis. Now, I usually have some notes for this, and I'm going into this full cold turkey. Is that a good idea? No. But am I going to do it? Yep. I'm going to be trying to not do too many takes. It's not going to be like a one-take recording, but it will be, not too many, right? I want to start talking about a few things before I get into the team. If you guys weren't aware, I was a part of UPA Season 1, my first Wi-Fi league of the generation, and we won. It was a Dynamax format, Gigantamax, whatever, and we won that with a G-Max Zard. We got first pick overall in the draft, which was very sick, and that was a very fun season. We're not doing Dynamax, and instead of getting first pick in this draft, we got the wheel pick. We got last pick, which I don't know what JB's doing, but we got that, so I was pretty happy about that. There was 18 coaches last time, there's 20 this time, so, long draft, but that does make things a little bit more exciting. I have a draft analysis going up tomorrow as well, and throughout this video, I might reference that a little bit, just because these drafts happened at the exact same time, basically. So, without spoiling tomorrow's draft, I will be referencing that. Also, I'm going to try my hardest not to just go by mon and how I drafted and do the old standard thing. It's a little bit boring. I'm also not going to throw my team up just on the screen because I want my view time to be longer than 5 seconds. So we're going to just do that. I know you guys know my first pick. It's going to be on the thumbnail. And since I was the wheel, I think I'm going to talk more about the cores I drafted a bit. So we'll do that. First off, let me just say what two mons I drafted first, right? I got Jirachi and Hippowdon. Those were my first two wheel picks. Really weird that I picked those up together because they don't synergize the greatest, not the worst, of course, but it could have been like Jirachi Kiss or Hippo Excadrill, something like that. But I went this route, and I'll explain to you why. Last generation, I was known for drafting Hippowdon quite a bit, which I did, and I felt like I used it pretty well. Jirachi, on the other hand, I've never used. Aquarius kind of pushed me into doing this, which I'm happy they did. It kind of gave me an incentive to kind of pursue something in drafting, right? Try not to force Jirachi into a certain role, and when we get down the list later, you're going to see that I tried my hardest not to do that. Now, my last draft, Dracovish, it was forced into one role, but it's okay because Dracovish likes to be forced into being banded or scarfed and just clicking Fishy Rend. Jirachi's not the same. It wants to be doing a whole bunch of things. It gets rocks, U-turn. I'm going to try not to list off moves, but that's for the sake of my argument right there. And again, that is just why I drafted Jirachi overall, just because A, I haven't used it, and B, it gives me incentives. And for Hippowdon, the reason I drafted Hippo over something like Kiss is because I didn't want to force my fairy type to be part flying, which you'll see a little bit later soon that there's a lot of flying options, and I didn't want to lock myself into Kiss right away. Hippo, on the other hand, also, unless your opponent is throwing off a water, grass, or an ice move, Hippo is a soft check to like everything else in the game. This thing is incredibly fat, and it also gets rocks too, so it doesn't force Jirachi into that role. So right there, I have a physically defensive wall and a good steel type. Jirachi being part psychic type kind of sucks. I'm personally not a fan of psychic types at all. I think they're not as good as people make them out to be. The only time I really like psychic types, if it's like psychic spam, like Lele, psychic terrain stuff, then it works out pretty well. But besides that, you won't catch me seriously drafting a psychic type. And it's a little bit of a downfall, but I think it's something we can work with. Alright, next two cores now. Our next two picks are Primarina and Noivern. I wasn't sure if I was going to go a fairy early or not, but round 3, which is Primarina's round, a lot of fairies went. Togekiss actually went right before me, so that kind of took out that option. And the only non-mid to low tier left was Primarina, so I took that. It is a special breaker, which is something that crosses off the list as well. A really good speed tier for what I need. And it pairs really well with Noivern, because Noivern can U-turn out on the things it switches into, and Primarina deals with a lot of the things that Noivern doesn't like. So that is also amazing. Noivern, we can talk about a bit, Northside Noiverns, it's sort of a mascot pick. We are the Calgary Flamethrowers in this league, and for the foreseeable future, because we're on Wi-Fi, but, Noivern's still cool. It has the speed tier that I want at 123. There were a few flying types I was looking at. I was looking at bulky flyings, like Moltres, Togekiss was something earlier. Mandibuzz was even a thought. And then there's some offensive flyings, Noivern and Crobat. I was talking to Aqua because Aqua really helped out with this build, and they wanted a Crobat, so I let them have Crobat. You're welcome. But Crobat was pretty good here. Noivern was another great option just because of the typing synergy. The Fairy Steel Dragon Core is now checkmarked off of the box, and again, I already talked about the synergy between this and Primarina. It's really nice, and Noivern also has 2 great abilities that could be very helpful for how I want to play the other mons on this team. So that is the next 2 pairs of mons we got. I do want to kind of say at this point in the draft that this is a pretty mid-tier type of team with some decent support from the high tiers. I think the core in the mid tiers is better than my high tier core. I just want to mention that, because my next 2 picks are Rotom-Mow and Pangoro. Rotom-Mow synergizes very well with Primarina and Noivern because of the typing. Noivern can beat dragons offensively, Primarina defensive or offensively. Rotom-Mow doesn't like them, so right there they are pretty decent. Really great speed tier for what I have so far, and even including Pangoro, you look at this team, 5 of my 6 mons have pivoting, and I think that is kind of just a nice extra theme to this team. I don't really have to worry too much about momentum, because if I have control of it almost all the time, it's going to be pretty nice. And what I've learned in the past in my draft experience, having momentum is very, very important in a game. So that's pretty nice. Defog, Rotom-Mow has, so Noivern isn't forced into that role. Again, putting some leniency on my mons. And it just fares pretty nice, Rotom-Mow. Having electric and grass in the same typing is a little bit weird, considering that bulky waters could be annoying if you only have 1 less mon to deal with it. But as we go through the rest of my drafts, hopefully I try and patch it up. It's not the greatest, but it is something. And one more thing for my draft tomorrow, a big spoiler alert, but I do end up picking up Rotom-Mow in that as well. This team I wanted it, that team not as much. We have it, so we're going to be seeing a lot of this mon on the channel soon. I can move on and talk about Pangoro. I don't want to drag. I wanted a breaker, physical breaker, because Jirachi's not one unless it's banded, and Hippowdon's going to be defensive most weeks. And right here, I have Pangoro sitting right here. I did want to use Surfetched, but I picked up Pangoro because of the dark typing. There was only 3-ish good dark types left, and that fit my team. Well, no, that didn't fit. I had Pangoro, Guzzlord, and Alolan Persian. Guzzlord doesn't fit this team pretty well, and while Alolan Persian's nice, Pangoro just checked off more boxes for me in the sense that I have the physical breaker I mentioned, pivoting is decent on this thing, and the fighting typing, which is something I really wanted. Pangoro's got good abilities to work with, good coverage moves, priority, and it's something I've never used before, so it's something that I really just wanted to try out. Sucks, again, I didn't get to use the duck, but, one league we will be able to draft Surfetch. I'm promising you it will happen. Hopefully, I'm not talking too fast for you guys. I've been trying to slow down a little bit, but since I have so much to talk about, I don't want a video to drag on. My next 2 picks are both weak to rocks. It is Scolipede and Chandelure. Looking at my team up to this point, I wasn't really too concerned about the rock weakness, and I have Scolipede, which is a pretty high tier mon. I drafted it because I had a lot of points left, and there was not many things that I needed, so I felt like I could afford this. If it's a good speed tier for the team I have as well, because prior it went from Noivern all the way down to Jirachi, so now I have something in the middle, which is pretty decent. Some form of hazards, just in case I want to go that route with this Pokemon. Bug Poison is an iffy typing offensively, but Scolipede gets good coverage, and it's a T-Spike Absorber, which is just more good utility. Chandelure is another special breaker. It doesn't really force Primarina into being a special breaker, though it is a decent one as is. Fire Ghost typing is amazingly spammable, and having some good extra coverage as well is nice. And unlike Blacephalon, Chandelure can run a Calm Mindset a little bit better, or maybe more of a utility set a little bit better, just because of the bulk it has. Fire Ghost is not an amazing defensive typing, but can come into play at some points while prepping, right? Speed tier was 80, which is kind of okay. For my team, it wasn't as good as the Scolipede speed tier, but it's not that bad. I said Chandelure doesn't want Primarina to force it to be like a special breaker, and that's because if you look at my defensive core, it's definitely Hippo, and I have a lot of flexibility in like Rotom-Mow is going to be defensive most weeks. Primarina can now do both because of the Chandelure pick, And even though I'm not a big fan of like defensive Noivern or pivoting Noivern, it's really nice for this team. And even Jirachi too. So I give some Jirachi more options as well. Jirachi is almost never going to be a spec set in this case, but honestly, that's not a bad thing. Finally, we have 3. I'm going to do just my last 3 picks right now because my third pick wasn't really a big deal. My final 3 picks are Greedent, Lycanroc Day, and Lapras. Now, I'll explain these picks. First, Greedent. Greedent is the GOAT, man. Greedent is an awesome Pokemon. It has very underrated bulk, a normal typing, which is something I wanted on this draft. Because Jirachi is part Psychic type, it does lead to have a little bit more of a Ghost weakness, especially because Pangoro isn't the sturdiest Dark type in the world. So having a low tier normal was pretty nice on this team. And plus, I can make people happy by drafting Greedent, right? And it can be a threat in games. It really can. Second is Lycanroc. I was either this or Dracozolt. This definitely fits my team a little bit better. It fits the 112 speed tier, even though Scolipede is there. Scolipede has speed boost, so it's like a 112 in quotes. Another rocker and some form of priority. Me and Aqua were talking, and one of the selling points for this over Dracozolt was the fact that up to this point, I had no priority or no good priority, so Lycanroc kind of filled that as well. And it gives me a sand option, though I'm not prioritizing it, just like my UPBA team. Sand is not a sand team, it just has sand on it. And then finally, I have Lapras. I squeezed Lapras in here just because I had the extra points, and I didn't have anything else that I really needed. I looked at my team and thought, what's something that could be beneficial? And then, as every team does, you have to find your Dracovish answer, right? You look at my team here, there is no Dracovish answer defensively. So I did what Aqua did in UPBA, and I picked up Lapras. And that's going to be my Dracovish answer for when I face that team eventually. Otherwise, it's kind of here. It's bulky. Water Ice is an okay defensive typing. It doesn't fill as many roles, but it can be a defensive water to maybe take up some leniency on Primarina. So that's that. The more I'm talking about this draft analysis, the more I'm seeing that this team is built really well around Primarina, and that could be a really good thing through the season. I did draft Primarina in a tournament once, and that team was A, garbage, and B, I could not get Primarina to work. That is on me, though. I don't think it was the mon itself. So for this draft, we get a second chance. Hopefully we can make it work, and hopefully I don't completely fumble the bag with Jirachi. Otherwise, I'm feeling very comfortable with all the other mons on this team. I feel like I'll use them pretty well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think of this team in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Again, I try not to make it like a insert Pokemon, list off some moves. Oh, hey, this is pretty cool. Next mon. It's kind of hard to do that in a I'm trying to be entertaining at the same time, but more informative than anything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of video. Again, it's not crazy different, but it is tweaked a little bit. Tomorrow, you guys will be seeing my next draft, which is pretty exciting. I'll give you my opinions on both drafts in that video because I'd rather not spoil that draft here. And hopefully we have a good UPA season. It is 12 weeks long, so, a longer season. But it's all good. Otherwise, I think that's going to be it. Thank you to Aqua and a little bit of Jack for helping me make this team. And overall, we didn't really get sniped too much. This was a team that I wanted like Volcanion on or something, but it went early round 2 because RazorClaw is insane. But besides that, our team landed up pretty well, and I'm overall happy with the team that we got here. So I hope you guys are looking forward to a fun UPA season. Hopefully we go back-to-back with championships, but you know damn well that ain't happening. And yeah, I will see you for week 1 next week. I'm excited. Thanks for watching.